good service, great music. Jean-Luc was on the piano, knocked it out. It was great. So I'm here, I'm going to introduce Lisa, and I'm going to introduce Mike about Feeding San Diego. First, I want to say a couple of words to you folks. With all of the things that we do on campus, with all of the people that we serve in spirit. We provide our campus for places where they can meet. And we also help, we have outreach both to North County as well as to Haiti and even down in Mexico. But we were presented with an opportunity a couple of months ago, Feeding San Diego. In my view, in my opinion, this is a profound opportunity for St. Bart's. One of the things that they presented to us was that across the street, 50 yards away, there are people in Seven Oaks. 21% of those people are food insecure. They have to pay for meds, they have to pay for rent, they've got to pay their utilities. And at the end of the day, they don't have enough to buy food. So we were presented with an opportunity to be able to serve that community, not only their spirit, not only their souls, but to help make them feel more secure in their lives. And Lisa and Mike have decided to take the leadership position on this and to lead St. Bart's. And they're going to explain how it works, what we're going to do, how we can utilize, how we use and need to have volunteers to help pull this off. But in my personal view, we are now doing God's work, not just taking out ashes on Ash Wednesday to the community, but now we're serving a community in need that's silent and quiet. With that, Lisa.
Thank you so much, Dan. I appreciate that. And thank you all for being here. I really appreciate seeing all of you and coming to learn about this important ministry. This is going to be awesome. So before Chris left, Reverend Chris Harris, he asked me if I would you mind coordinating some volunteers for this project that I'd like to get off the ground? And so as the weeks went on, I decided that, yeah, I would take on this project with the help of Mike and the staff and all the people that have come forward to assist with it. So I'll go into a lot of details today about what Feeding San Diego is, but basically you heard, if you were at the 8 o'clock service, you heard Reverend Bill give us a little talk about its rescuing food. So this isn't, we're not going to buy food, we're not going to take donations of food from people, we're not going to do a can drive. What we are doing in this particular case is we're taking food that would go to the landfill. So thousands of pounds a day leave. Just from Sprouts, they get rid of almost 1,000 pounds a day at that little store right across the street that is nearing its expiration, perfectly good food, dented things, things like that can be used. And rather than go throw it in the trash, we're gonna pick it up, and we're gonna bring it here, and in the afternoon, people that need it will come through and get it. So before I go into all the details, because they're so exciting, I have a little exercise for us to do. Some of you might have noticed that living in San Diego is a little bit expensive, right? It can be hard to make ends meet. So Dan mentioned that we have, and Jim's gonna hand some of these out on that side, and then I've got some over here. Dan mentioned that we have some statistics from across the street, from Seven Oaks, of people that are food insecure. We also have a large immigrant community in San Diego, in Poway, and we have a lot of homeless people in Poway, which we may not really think about, but the schools actually have a person designated to take care of to be a consultant for homeless students. So it's a pervasive issue in our community that people don't have enough food. And with Feeding San Diego, we don't need them to prove to us what their income is. They don't need a WIC card, they don't need to register or any of that stuff. So if everyone could take a minute, take a look at the little worksheet and pretend for a moment that you have a family with 2 parents and 2 kids. Do you guys need one, Jim? And you have to make a choice. So in this particular exercise, you get 15 circles. And that's all you have to spend for the month. So everyone just take a moment, see what things are important to them that they would pick, and what things that you would choose not to do. Tyler, do you have one? Are there some extra forms? Are we? Good, well, share with a neighbor if there's someone close by. Mike, I could use one up here too, please. Thank you.
Why do some boxes have one circle and others have two or three?
Because of their value, so if you had a studio apartment, it would cost you the value of one circle in this exercise.
Oh.
If you had a 2-bedroom house, it would cost you 3 circles. So if you pick something that has 3, you have to fill in all 3 if that's your choice for that. And you get 15 total.
Well, I'm spending it quickly.
It goes fast, doesn't it? We're doing the little exercise. And you guys can share. Basically, we're looking at, if we only had a limited amount of money to spend a month, which we do, each person does, what would you choose to spend your money on? So in this exercise, you have to make some hard decisions.
Let's go for food first. Kids are on their own. We don't have any money left for them.
I don't understand if there's only 9 things, how to get 15 circles.
So these over here are worth 3.
Oh.
So you need to fill in all 3, right? So if you have a home where the kids are in one bedroom, you're in the other, that's 3 circles. In that, I think so, I think that's how that, yeah.
So if you
So-
choose one of this.
I'm noticing that some of us are struggling, right, to use just 15 circles in this
I
case.
can't fill out my circles.
Right?
See, I wanted this one, so it has to get 2.
Yeah.
So everything over here costs more than anything over this.
So everyone that's filled in one circle for their 3 circle, they've probably reached 15 by now, right? If we go back and look at the real value. So you can see by doing an exercise like this that these are the struggles that people are having in our community. They get, whatever they get per month, whatever we get per month, and we have to spend it. We have to decide if we're going to buy food, if the kids are going to have new school supplies, if our car's going to get fixed, if we're going to drive on bald tires. There's all sorts of expenses that come up. And so those are some of the things that we are trying to bridge the gap with Feeding San Diego. So I'm going to show a short video that was given to us from Feeding San Diego. But have any of you heard of Feeding America, that organization? So basically this is a branch of Feeding America. And the organization started during the 2007 wildfires. And so we're going to start with this little video. And I will come back at the end and we'll get chatting about this. Can you tell us about the latest information as far as our roads are concerned in the county?
Our eyes were stinging, our lungs were sore, we were breathing the smoke. It didn't matter what part of the county you were in, it seemed like there was a fire that was encroaching closer to your home, to your family.
At this point, Del Dios Highway is closed. Don't hesitate if you want to go west.
I looked out into the northern skies and saw a lot of smoke. There was a lot of danger to the inner city as well as to the rural parts of town.
Friends and family and people who lived over in those areas were scared they were going to lose everything.
Is we had firefighters in every part of this county that needed water, that needed food. We had dislocated families who needed to feed their children. We needed to get supplies moving. We didn't have time to wait. And so out of nothing more than a parking lot, a group of determined people began to solicit donations of trucks. They began to solicit donations of water. They began to solicit donations of food. And as a result, they moved over 500,000 pounds of food and water out to people who desperately needed it. And that act of Feeding San Diego became an organization called Feeding San Diego. We have these preconceived notions of what hunger looks like. We think of the homeless population, which is an incredibly important constituency that we're taking care of every day. But actually, that's only about 10% of the families that are served by Feeding San Diego's services.
My name is Trent Huddy. I'm 62 years old, single parent. I have 3 young children. I was a heavy equipment operator, repairman. Around 2010, I was diagnosed with cancer, and that kind of changed things a little bit.
Most of the folks we're serving are seniors on fixed incomes, they're children, they're people with disabilities, they're active duty military families.
My name's Chelsea. I have a 2-year-old daughter. Her name's Charlie. My husband has been in the service for 5 years. His father before him was an Army vet in Berlin. His father was a Navy vet. It's really hard to stay positive that my husband has been in the service and we live below the poverty line. He could die literally at any point in time at work, and we're over here still trying to figure out how we're gonna make it. I have been working 3 jobs for the last 3 years of our entire marriage. For the first year of my daughter's life, I never saw her eyes.
I've seen a difference when children are fed 3 meals a day. They function better. They learn better.
A lot of times when we see students frustrated or they're upset or they're not having a good day, I would say half the time or more is because they're hungry.
And when they're hungry, their mind is on food. Their mind is not on math, language arts, literacy. It's not there. And nutrition hits all of our families.
Trying to decide, which bills we're going to pay first and to buy food for your children.
I skip meals all the time. My husband gets so mad at me for that. But I tell him, I'm like, sometimes I have to make a decision between me eating lunch and my daughter eating lunch. And it's just reality of it. I can skip a meal a day for her.
The shocking truth is that all of the food that we need to feed everybody in San Diego County is already here every single day. It's just being wasted. We're taking healthy, nutritious food products and allowing them to go to the landfill. Our job is to take all the food that is being wasted before it enters the waste stream and get that food to families in need. We're in 180 grocery stores across this county every day of the week. We're in 190 Starbucks stores every night of the week in the dark of night. We are capturing food from the convention center, from the airport, from any number of sources, and bringing that food to local charities. We have over 245 distribution points across San Diego County where food is being delivered to families in need.
I started using the services about a year ago. My husband had just deployed. It was very professional, very polite, didn't make me feel inferior. When we do go over there, I take 2 or 3 girls with me and we make a big run of it.
Being able to shop there at least once a week has been a blessing.
My daughter loves potatoes, the boxed coconut milk too.
It's always, fresh vegetables.
Over 51% of the food that we distributed last year was produce. Where we can't find a local charity, where we don't have a community partner, we're going to fill the hunger gap in that community by providing the meals ourselves.
The summer library program where we're taking bags of produce out to places that have basically no grocery stores anywhere near them.
The people were just so excited. One thing I always heard, gosh, what a blessing this is.
They're working with one of our schools, Laurel Elementary, and doing a food pantry there.
We had our first pantry yesterday, school pantry. Almost 200 families served. So we passed out, I think it was 5,126 pounds of food yesterday within 2 or 3 walking away from the school, you know, just happy. And it was just a powerful experience. And then watching my staff and my parents, just to have these opportunities for our families. And sometimes they're not academic, because sometimes academic doesn't happen if you're hungry.
I found myself on the other end, having a job for 35 years, having a career, then volunteering, then finding myself disabled, and then being, you know, having to use the program. In the end, it wound up helping me too. Thank God.
Feeding San Diego has only been around 10 years, but it's already the largest hunger relief organization in San Diego County. We have a lot of room to grow. We know what it takes to solve the problem. We just need the resources to scale it up and to solve this problem for everybody who is facing food insecurity.
Feeding San Diego has filled in the gap. Let's say the kids needed shoes that month. Okay, so we bought tennis shoes for all 3 kids. That would cut into our budget for food.
This has been such a relief for me that I can actually spend some time with my daughter and actually see her, eat dinner with her. If it wasn't for you guys, we would have been toast a long time ago.
I just want to say thank you that you guys would even that an organization like Feeding San Diego would consider partnering with Oceanside. You have no idea the impact you're going to have on this community.
Thank you to all the people and all the companies that donate food, money, time. Thank you.
All those things, as a child, you know, they impact students. And so that's why, you know, when they get here, we're doing things to make them not just forget about that, but to make them think, dream, to dream big.
Just one meal can literally change somebody's week, can motivate them that somebody cares, you know, that we're here to help each other.
Together, we can solve hunger.
So I've watched that video, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 times to get ready for today. And every single time I watch it, I get all teared up. And it just makes me realize that there's people in all different parts of our community that could just use a little. In our case, it's going to be a little bit of food every Sunday. But also all the other things that come from that, and knowing that somebody does care about them, that, you know, the people in Poway do care, and that we can just do, it's just such an easy thing for us to do, to just pull something that's going to go to waste, and let's just figure out a way to get it to people. So it's super exciting for me. I don't know, I hope you're all excited too, but I'm super excited about this. And then just before I go on, this project, the more I get into it, the more it touches me personally, and I think about things from when I was a kid, and I think about, you know, using food stamps, and I think about how much that my mom hated that. And I think about the time when I was a teenager and my neighbor came and took my grandma, who was raising me at the time, to go get a big block of American cheese, right? And the big government cheese. And so it's always been a big joke in my family. But some of my best memories are sitting around in our apartment with no heat, under a blanket, having toast with this government cheese on it, and laughing that, like, whoever thought we'd be sitting here eating government cheese? But it's such a great memory of me and my mom at that time. And so knowing that we can do that for people and maybe give them a little more than a block of government cheese makes me super excited. So I'm gonna start this. So it's estimated through Feeding San Diego's data that 1 in 6 children in San Diego has food insecurity. 1 in 8 adults. And what food insecurity means basically is they're not 100% sure that the next meal is going to be there. So that's really the bottom line of what that is. They're making decisions and of what they're gonna give up. And the other side of this coin is that all of this food would go to the dump. And so as stewards of the earth, that's super important and just a wonderful thing, because we're running out of space in the dump. So it's really great that we get to rescue this, we get to keep it from going there, and we get to help people. The video told us a lot about all the partnerships. Our first partnership was gonna be just with Sprouts, because we're gonna start off a little slow. We have no idea how many people are gonna come. Feeding San Diego thinks that we could get up to 50 to 100 people each Sunday. The first time, I don't know, there's a lot of unknown about it. So I'm using a little bit of faith here that we're just gonna grow and change as we need to, and we'll add more partners as well. Albertsons is a partner, Barron's is a partner, Costco. So if we start to get a really great crowd and people really start to know that they can come here, they can get food, it's dignified, all are welcome, this could really turn into a great distribution site for food rescue in our area. And so this is a little bit about Feeding San Diego, that was in the video as well. And again, we talk about at St. Bart's, all are welcome, no exceptions, and that is true here especially. So we know that the seniors across the street, some of them have been in their homes for 35, 40 years, and you know, their cost of living has gone up, their taxes have gone up, their medicine's gone up, and they make changes, decisions about what they're gonna buy. And we have seniors, we have a military, so we heard from the military spouse there, and I'm hoping that we can, you know, use some connections that we have here and reach out to the military families that are struggling so that they can come. And the way that it will work is they just show up. We have no income requirements. We don't ask them to bring their, you know, their tax forms, anything like that. We don't even necessarily need to know who they are. They can come in, they write down their name, they write down how many people are in their family, and then as they come through, if we have a limited supply, the reason we ask the number of their family, if they have a limited supply of something, you know, maybe you can please just take 1 milk. Or if you have 5 people in your family, you know, please take 2. And it's basically like a shopping experience. So people will walk through, they'll take what they need. We don't make the decision of what it is that they get to choose. And if we look at this map, this was provided by Feeding San Diego. So the dark areas, the darker the area, the more need there is. So we have some, you see the little knife and fork, if you can see, that's what these little things are. So these are different outlets where people can get food. And the darker the area, the greater the need. And so we looked at this and we see St. Bart's and we go, well, wait, you know, Rancho Bernardo and Poway, how can this be? And this is the data that's there. So 21% of the seniors just in our neighborhood can use some assistance. So that's right there. There's all this area, and you can see that there's other food distributions. None of them are on Sunday. Some of them are once a month. So we're a really underserved community for getting food to people. And then we talked about some of the places that we can partner with. And these are the things that we'll get. So mostly produce, things that, you know, they have to move out. The stores have contracts where they have to have new food come in. So if it's close to the date, or if it's a little dented, or if it's not beautiful, it goes out. And so that's the produce that we'll get. Meat and dairy, we have a procedures manual that shows us how long, either past the expiration date or how close to the expiration date something is fresh for. So when people come through, we're confident that we know that we're giving them safe food. There's a really strict procedure in mind for that. So we make sure that we're not gonna be giving people things that are old and not delicious to eat. We're gonna have regularly scheduled pickups and distribution. Our goal right now is to do this every Sunday. So every Sunday afternoon at about 2 o'clock, we'll open up our doors, put out our food, people will come through until the food's gone. And that's the little bit of the unknown part. And it's all, you know, regular, healthy food that we get. And there's just some pictures of what it looks like. So you saw in the video, it was a big warehouse. So that's their main headquarters down in, I think it's on Wapples down in San Diego. And that's set up more like a pantry, more like a food pantry. It's they have a lot of food there, and they have a lot of food all the time. Ours will come and go. We're not going to be storing food. We're not going to be changing any of our space to a permanent food distribution. I'm going to introduce everybody now to Mike Jewett. He's our sexton, and Mike has been involved in this project before I got started with it. He went down and saw Feeding San Diego. He's been working with the facilities to make sure that we can actually pull this off, that our congregation won't be affected, that the Korean church that's here won't be affected adversely. And so, Mike, I'm going to turn it over to you to come and talk to us a little bit.
Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah.
And thank you for doing this. So this is a real exciting thing for me. Like Lisa, I watched this video 4 times. Every time I cry. So I'm going to tell a story. So when I first started here, I fell in love with the people. Right, the people here are just so full of love, and I believe that you all fell in love with me. Right, and so there's so much love here, and that we're called to be ambassadors of Christ. We're called to serve, right, and to love our neighbor as ourselves. And ever since I started, Chris was always, and Mark, were always trying to get into this community, to be a part of this community. And we had these seminars, invite seminars, and connect and serve, and all these different ideas of how we could get involved in this. So we prayed and prayed and prayed, and all of a sudden this thing just shows up, And there's, in my opinion, it's God being in charge, God doing it for us what we really couldn't come up with on our own. What a perfect opportunity to serve that community, especially across the street. I remember that we had some ideas on the table, like Chris and I were going to go around, we were going to pass out flyers, we were going to get volunteers and go from house to house and help them fix things in their house, just because we wanted to be involved in that community. But here, now we're given this thing. So also when I first started here, so we have all these donuts on Sundays, right? There was a guy that at the end of the day, he would take the donuts, whatever was left over, and he would drive up to Great Day Park, and he'd give those donuts to the homeless people in Great Bay Park. And 3 years later, his son was going to a retreatment facility, and he was dropping him off, and the 3 guys came out, and they're like, "Hey, it's the donut guy. It's the donut guy." They were so excited that this guy would bring them fresh donuts, that he would go out of their way, and he would talk to them about Jesus and why he was doing it. So I'll get to the questions. So God's in charge, right? So we're not really sure what it's all going to look like, plan it out, because God's in charge. It's going to work. We're here to serve the community, and however many tables we need, however much food we get, that's what we're going to be able to work with. So we have a lot of tables. We have right now a great place to do this. We're going to have them come in here and sign up, and then we'll go into the North Parish Hall, and that'll be set up kind of like a grocery store. And we'll walk through. We have lots of tables. It's going to be nice to have volunteers. Obviously, what me and Lisa would like is that we don't have to be here every week to set up things and put things away. So we'll show people where things go. As long as people put things in the right place and take them out of the right place, then they're going to be fine. When this building could go away as soon as June, but most likely November or the first part of 2020. But when this building goes away, we can have it. We're supposed to have a chapel and a youth room over there. We can put it in the other building before the new building gets put up. So there'll be plenty of places. Also, there's San Diego Rescue Mission does it every day. They do it for up to 500 people sometimes, and they do it. It's outside, so they just set the tables up outside, and people come through and get their food. There's a lot of homeless people, and they do it every day because those people don't have homes. They don't have refrigerators. They don't have places. So we do have the facility. We have a great facility, and we have people to serve. Do we need to buy a lot of supplies or refrigeration? So we have some people that, we have one refrigerator that's being donated, but most of the food is gonna be, we're gonna get it that day and hopefully distribute all of it that day. If we have to freeze some, great. If not, we can take it other places or give it to other people who are also doing Feeding San Diego. So it won't get wasted. Plus, we can all take some, right? If you have a place, you can take it yourself, right? So we don't need a whole lot of storage or refrigeration. When the new building comes, we'll have plenty of room. It's just gonna be amazing. And hopefully we have a lot of people and stuff coming like that, and we can hopefully fill the building, right, with people and feed the hungry and also love them at the same time. So I kind of covered what's going to happen during construction. We're going to make room, right? We're doing God's work, I believe, and we're going to go and do whatever we need to do to make this happen, to feed these people and to be a part of this community and give to this community and be servants for Christ. So also, there are some recovery sober living homes that will take food here in town. Also, there are some in Escondido that take food, and it's an amazing, like Lisa talked about, how much homeless people are really here that we don't all see. You know, there are some bushes across the street, just right here, right, that go along the side of a fence. So in between that big brick wall and those trees and bushes, there's people that live there, that I see when I come here early, you know, that they don't have any place to live. They're right here. So hopefully we can help those people out. Anything I forgot?
I don't think so.
Want me to spend more time?
No, I think we're good.
Because I can get real preachy, you know. I think it's just a great opportunity, and thank you all for showing up. You have a question for me?
So is it gonna be any, things like, hygiene, personal care, stuff like that?
I don't know. I don't know what stuff we'll get. So each week we get different things. There's not anything that we aren't allowed to get. Like we won't get alcohol or cigarettes or stuff like that. But I don't think that there are restrictions. You're on what, you know, if they have stuff that's going out that's still safe to use, I imagine that we will be able to select from that too. So there could be, and there might be opportunities for us to, you know, have hygiene bags and things like that. Like there's just so much that we can do with this, based on finding out what the community needs and then filling in where we wanna jump in. So I wanna say thank you.
You know what I forgot was to talk about. So on the 21st, we're gonna do a little mock setup. Also, she's gonna do a presentation on, you know, how to be healthy and do I can't come up with a word, but we're gonna set things up and kind of go over how everything's gonna go on the 20th.
Yeah, it's gonna be, we're gonna get everybody trained on that day,
That's
which
it,
is gonna be great. Mike, thank you very much, and I do wanna speak to Mike, mentioning that he can get preachy, because one day I was sitting in the office and I think he could see that my head was starting to spin and I was starting to get a little upset that I didn't know how much food we're gonna get or who's gonna volunteer, you know, are we really gonna get people to step forward? And Mike, he's like, okay, I just wanna let you know, God is in charge and we're trying to feed people. And you just have to remember that and you won't know how that's gonna look. And I keep coming back to that because I'm so grateful to have that just as a little resource to use and go, okay, I'm not in control here of everything. So, and I know all of you are at this point, like just dying to know how you can get involved in this project. And there's so many ways that you can. So I have a handful of people who have stepped forward to be leaders. I could definitely use more, and what that means is people that are gonna be here, one Sunday a month, or one Sunday every other month, and they're the designated point person. So if that sounds like something that is up your alley and you'd like to do, definitely talk to me about that. And then there'll be people here for maybe 2 hours once a year, or 2 hours every Sunday. So however it would work for you to come and distribute, basically what that means is standing behind a table, wearing gloves, and asking the people what they would like. And they walk through, you hand them what they'd like, and you know, we greet everyone that comes through with an open heart. It's a very dignified service to provide. It's not, we're not gonna get preachy, they don't have to come to our services, they don't have to do anything, except what do you need and how can I help you, and we will share with them what we have. It's also a great way for people to get involved who maybe wanna do something behind the scenes. So you're available Sunday between 8 and 9. Thank you. I've had a few people come forward and say that that would be great for them. So all you do is you drive your minivan or your SUV or whatever you drive to Sprouts or to Barron's, and you go to the back door, you ring the bell, there's a pile of boxes for you. They estimate that we're gonna get about 8 to 10 banana boxes, you know those Dole, you probably saw them in the video, banana boxes just from Sprouts on Sunday morning. And so Williams offered to do that for us one day a month. So he's gonna go do that, drop it off here. It's gonna be covered in a cold blanket. We'll put it away, the stuff that needs to be cool, and then the volunteers that come in the afternoon will put it out and distribute it. So it should be really seamless. So that's what we're hopeful for. It's also one of the things that we really want to do is get involved in the community. So not just to serve the community, but also to bring the community in to serve their own community. So we can have troops come, we can have Rotary come, all your coworkers to come and do a team building event by working one day. Many of you might have gone to the food packaging that Friends and Family Connection does, and the energy that gets just created and that you feel when you're actually making something, and at the end of the day you have boxes of food that you've created that you know somebody is going to benefit from. So if you have a group that you want to bring in, there'll be an email that you can contact me on, and we'll sign up your group and everybody can come in. We'll all have lanyards for the day that indicate that we're the volunteers, and so you can work together. And lastly, we have people right in our congregation who could use this service. We have next door neighbors that could use this service. If you are out in the community, whether you choose to volunteer or not, talk it up. Let people know that it's here. We're going to be contacting all the schools, social services, all the different organizations that we can think of, but there's nothing more inviting than a personal invitation. So if you do know people that are struggling, please ask them to come or bring them, drive them down and let them share in the bounty that would be wasted.
Yeah, that was sort of a question that popped into my mind with all this was, especially if we're talking about the big part of the challenged population with food is elderly.
You mean getting them here?
How would they get here?
Yes. So next phase is in the back of my mind, and I haven't formulated this with any of the team or anything yet, but are there people that need it to be delivered? And so as we get our feet under us, that's definitely something that I'm thinking about doing, and that a lot of people have been talking about how can we make that happen, and that would be something where we could make up little bags as you leave church that day. Grab a bag, here's the address, drop it off. Super easy ministry, and would make a huge difference to people to have something brought to their house. So that's a great question. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And what other questions do we have? So there's not that much more that I can tell you detail-wise, but.
So I'm still a little fuzzy, excuse me, I'm still a little fuzzy on what happens at the end of the day. Because I signed up to be one of the people who's in charge.
The leader, yes, thank you.
So you get to, it's 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and nobody else is coming, and there's food left.
So that is an awesome question. I love that question. Feeding San Diego came and talked to us about a week and a half ago, and one of the things that they said, which I was trying to figure out a way to phrase this, they said the landfill is not more worthy than your volunteers. So if we have food at the end of the day, the volunteers can take home, we can take it to another facility that, you know, if we do things like that, we've got another facility, we need to get approval from Feeding San Diego, but basically, we can take with us what we need, and otherwise we have to throw it out. So that's the unknown. There's that balance that we're gonna have to figure out of how many people are gonna be coming to take food every day, or every Sunday, and how many stores can we take from without feeling like we're taking it and throwing it away. We keep data on all of that, so at the end of the day, if we have food that we're throwing out, we'll report that back to Feeding San Diego, and we'll have data, automatically we input it, that tells us how many pounds of food we've given out each week, how many guests we have, and then we can modify if we have too many stores, if we have too little stores, or if the need's not as great, you know, as we think it is.
Two more questions.
Yes, yeah.
The training, the training on Sunday the 21st,
Yes.
is that gonna be at like in the middle of the afternoon, like the regular feeding time, like
It-
2-ish?
I'm hoping it will be at 1, and if you didn't get an email from me on that, let me know, because I had some trouble with my email yesterday, the email from St. Bart's.
I probably did, I don't always read all of
Okay.
the email.
Okay, so the 21st at
I
1.
know I'm getting emails from you, so, okay.
And some of them are wordy, so,
Guilty of that.
the 21st at 1 o'clock, we're gonna do kind of a mock training, and I picked 1 o'clock because the church that's here that uses our space will actually be turning it over and setting up for us, and they wanna be part of this as well.
Awesome.
So that's gonna be great, so they're gonna have volunteers that are gonna stay, they're gonna set up the room, and so I wanted to make it easy for them, since it was a mock day, to just, let's have it be a seamless flow. We'll do a training, we'll talk about any questions that come up, we'll go through the procedures manual, and then for the first few weeks, I plan to be here, you know, as much as I can on the Sundays, so I'm not gonna leave anybody, you know, fend for yourself, it's all in the book. So it should be pretty seamless.
So another question. One of the, I'm in the Poway Rotary Club, Poway Scripps Rotary Club, and one of our members is the director of the Poway Boys and Girls Club. And they have plenty of families who are experiencing food insecurity. So my question is, is there a plan for us on how we get the word out, and how can I communicate the availability of this program to groups like that?
Perfect, good, so many good questions, Polly, thank you. So Christine Evans, who works in our office, is amazing. She's an amazing marketing person. She and I have been talking about all the different places that we're gonna reach out to. Organizations like that will get a letter and a flyer. So they'll get a letter saying, here's what we have to offer, flyers to post, an email, an electronic document. So if you have a contact that you want us to reach out to, definitely send that to me, and I'll make sure that they're on that distribution list. We're gonna do a press release, so the Pomerado News and the Poway, I forget the name of it, Poway Chieftain will get the stuff. There's different social services and different groups that work with adults with disabilities and things like that. So we'll be reaching out to as many different organizations as we can. And again, you know, those first couple weeks, I hope we have enough food, I hope we have enough people, and we're just gonna have to wing it and be gracious hosts, and let people know we have as much food as we have until it's gone. If we don't have enough today, next week we're gonna have more, because Feeding San Diego has let us know that we can add stores, and that there's nobody's picking up Sunday morning, so there's so much food that's available to us. So, yes.
We already have a presence in Poway through our thrift shop, so I think we need to heavily advertise.
Yes.
And we need to have flyers on the counter when people come to pay for their purchase. We give them a flyer.
Right, everything goes in the bag, yeah.
They are low income, let me tell you. So we need to really hit thrift shop with flyers.
That's a great idea, and maybe
Think
the
about
other
that
thrift
also.
shops in that, in our shopping center too, where that is. I think that's a great idea. Our thought with that was we were gonna do a little quarter-page sheet that every bag would get one to take with. So hopefully we can really reach out to those people and talk to them about it too, you know, invite them to come.
So, I've been on Father Mark's back for years, trying to get Poway, trying to get St. Bart's more engaged in the Poway community. Because my image has always been that St. Bart sits on Pomerado Road looking at Rancho Bernardo and 4S, and Poway is behind its back. But we are the only Episcopal church in Poway, and for us to have an opportunity like this is so amazing. And there are so many, there's a ton of need in Poway, especially in South Poway.
Right.
But we've got, like, we can go to Donna and Johnny Watson to get our inroads into the new neighborhood healthcare center, because those are all underserved people with no insurance, yada yada. I mean, the opportunities are just huge.
Yes, yeah. In fact, that makes me, you just made me think of something. Maybe you can do packets for people as they're leaving church. You know, here's a packet of flyers for you to take to your organization and post and hand out and things like that. Yeah, so see, it's like the more you think about it, right, there's so much that we can do. And it makes me really excited to carry this torch for Father Chris, because I know he really wanted to get this going. And 2 days before he left, he had to pass it off and go. So I really want to make him proud when he comes back.
I think that was called hit and run.
We'll see. I'm still feeling good about it. Okay, what other questions can I answer? Anybody have questions about volunteering?
The pickup for food, I heard like minivan, and how are we getting, if we have the ability, are we getting those big banana boxes put inside our vehicle? So we have to have a vehicle big enough.
Depending on the store that you're picking up from.
Okay.
So, for instance, Barron's, I know, currently they don't like to do perishables. They don't know if they don't have a safe place to store it, you know, so it's a smaller store, so they do mostly baked goods. So in a place like that, a car, you know, with a trunk would be perfect. For Sprouts, it sounds like we need something bigger, and like an SUV or just a minivan or a pickup truck, something like that. And it's just going across the street, so theoretically, we could make more than one trip, you know, if we had to. All the stores that we're going to take from are going to be in our area, so they're all going to be right here. It's all going to be close. So it should
They
be.
really meant that thing is going to go inside the vehicle, not parts of it.
The whole box.
The whole box.
Yeah.
We get the box, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't understand
And
that
there
part, yeah.
are devices to put it in and remove it if we come back with it?
Only people. So they're,
The box isn't that big.
yeah, the box isn't, it's not
I'm
huge.
thinking of those ones like this big.
It's just a cardboard box.
Like a book
It's,
box.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe a little bit, yeah, it's like,
Moving box.
like a real big moving box, yeah. Yeah, that's a great question though.
Probably half the size of that cart, right?
Probably,
Of
yeah, the top
lower
part,
section.
right. And so we should get our first pickup, we should get about 10 of those. So that's what we're expecting.
Thank you.
You're welcome, yeah, thank you.
So we're gonna have bags for people to put their stuff in, or how's that gonna work?
Our flyers will say, bring your own bag.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I went to visit a few distribution sites, and they give them a bonus if they bring their own bag. So if you bring your own bag, you get an extra, whatever, an extra loaf of bread or an extra whatever they have that day. I'm probably gonna do a little bit of a bag collection, just, as a little side note, if you have bags, just so that people don't come and not have anything to put their food in.
So that reminds me, at many stores, and I believe Albertsons is one of them, they had, maybe, I hope they still have, some kind of receptacle that people could take. Now, back when we were allowed to get plastic bags at the grocery store, they had a thing that you could take old plastic bags and shove it in there. Do they still have those? Because if they do, why can't we reclaim those?
I don't know, but I think that would be against Feeding San Diego's
It might be a health concern.
A health concern, yeah. They have pretty strict rules on, what can touch what and things like that. And luckily, Sumner Rawlings has a lot of information too on that, because he has been in the food business. So he was giving me some education on that and things that can't be with each other. So that's a great idea, but I think what I'm gonna have to do is probably have people, really encourage people to bring their own, and I may end up buying, 100, however they sell them, 1,000 plastic bags, so that we have them on stack just in case we need them.
I'm gonna go back to moving that food in and out of here. Do we have a hand truck or something of that nature? Because I think specifically was, even if we drive it up here, there's a lot of schlepping stuff around. I don't see any 20-year-old spring chickens around.
I know that we have some rolling carts.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, So Mike's got plenty of hand trucks for us to use, and then whatever we have that day, whoever's on staff that day for volunteers, will have people who are doing specific things. So the people that pick up the food will have rolled it into wherever it's gonna be held, and then we'll move it from there. So yes, yeah, nobody's gonna have a bad back, hopefully, from this project. That's gonna be one of my goals. Trying to think of what else. I know there's just so many details and things like that.
I was gonna say on the bags, we have like 50 reusable bags and we don't need them. Like we could easily wash them and you could have those for people that don't bring them.
Awesome,
if that's
yes, that's a
allowed.
great idea. Okay, that would be great.
And I'm sure other people have them too.
Yeah, a lot
Yeah.
of people have, cause
Way too many.
Yeah, things that have logos
You
on
get
them.
them for free, you know, we
Yeah.
accumulate a ton of them.
I was hoping that when they did the new carpet in the office, that we would come across a big stack of those We Are St. Bart's blue bags. So far, I haven't heard of anything, but I'm keeping my eye out. Thank you. Go ahead.
How are you gonna continue to communicate with us as this progresses?
You guys are both thinking the same thing. So, I have a handy dandy sign up sheet, and this will be on the patio every week. Even if I'm not there, there'll be one here, and I'll definitely have this at the back of the room today. Please put your email on here legibly, and if you don't get one from me, that means that I typed it in wrong or something, so email me. But our email here is feedingsandiego@stbartschurch.org. So if you, if you want to reach out to me, that's how you can get me, whoever my other partners are going to be on this as we move forward. And my invitation to all of you is to just think about, what will work for your schedule, what's going to be easy, and what's going to just kind of work in your life to be part of this ministry. There's not going to be any weekly meetings. We're not going to do any big fundraising, anything like that. It's really just time and service from one person to another, and really just being open to the people that come and connecting with them and letting them know that there's people in their community that, that care about them and that care about the earth, and, just come and let's serve our community. So thank you all again for being here. I will come back. And if you have any questions, I'll definitely be around afterward as well.